Hi, my name is Andrew Chafin, and I am the assistant instructor of Anshu Jacobson for Budo Ryu Ninjutsu. Today I'm going to be going over the Budo Ryu Keiko. Okay, I'm going to be reading a little bit out of the book, Shinobi Nomichi, Sensei's book, and then I'm going to be giving my own personal take at the end of each section. Okay. The Budo Ryu teaches from 5 areas of martial thought. Each of these 5 areas have completely different aspects towards training and learning. There are many sections within each of these 5 areas of martial training, and below are the 5 sections of the Budo Ryu Keiko. The 5 comprise of Nanamusha Den, Gendai Henka Waza, Hojo Wando, Seishin Teki Kyoyo, and Nihon Musha Kyu. Okay?
Nanamusha Den is the actual training of the 7 arts that we have. Alright? The thing that we specialize as a martial art is we take the old ideas, make them work for today. Traditional and modern.
Our 7 arts are comprised of Tomoru Shinobi Jitsu, Kokoru Kempo, Tenshinru Jujitsu, Eshinru Iai Jitsu, Gyokoru Koshi Jitsu, Kotoru Koppo Jitsu, and Tokuryu Ninpo Taijutsu. Now those 7 warrior arts, when they come together, it's not just bits and pieces of each warrior art, okay, to make up just one giant curriculum. Each one of these arts is a full and entire art.
That would be our modern variations that we like to practice, okay? Like I said, when I was talking about Hojo and Do, what we do is we take the old ideas and make them work for today. Now that doesn't necessarily mean towards just mainly physical application. That can also be towards philosophy, concepts, ideas, strategy, so on and so forth. Back in the day, they had samurai armor. Now we have Kevlar.
Gendai Henka Waza. To translate as modern changing technique. In this section of training, the students learn how to take the old methods of the Nanamusha Den and then apply it in the modern day. This is not just fighting technique, but also taking the old philosophy, strategy, and principles and adopting them into modern times. Now it's pretty easy to understand. A good example of this when it comes to like concepts and ideas, you have a warrior back in the 15th century, 16th century, and he's in armor, full armor, and he's hiding behind a wooden palisade to hide from incoming archer fire. A good example of how to be able to apply that the same kind of idea and concept into modern times is pretty easy. You have to think about it. Right now, today, we have Kevlar. Okay, there's your body armor. When it comes to hiding behind a wooden palisade, you can think of it the same idea as to protect yourself from incoming gunfire. That you have concrete bunkers, okay, concrete buildings. Hiding behind a armored vehicle in a convoy to protect yourself from incoming fire is the same kind of idea. So it's not hard to take the same kind of ideas from the old days and apply them to today. Zigzagging and serpentining from archery fire in the old days works just the same as ducking up and down and zigzagging to not get your head blown off by a gun. So same ideas, understand?
The reason why we feel that creating modern variations of old techniques is important is because times change. Situations in society are different, and it's no longer practical to focus entirely on defense against something like a spear or sword. Today, the kind of attacks are mostly done through an up-close physical manner, like a grab or knife attack, or farther away like a gun. Knowing this, the build and crash of water-like motion that you see in the Sui no Kata from the Sanshin can be applied today in a modern sense, so why not? Through Henka, we take the time to explore how we can take an idea from one art and mix it with movement styles and focuses from others to create something dynamic and ultimately fluid, reasonable, and effective. The world is different, so we need to be.
Alright, physical exercise, being in shape. Also, what applies towards that would be randori, sparring, kobuwaza, the ability to be able to practically do it on people.
Hojo Wando translates as supplementary exercises. In this section of training, the student understands the higher consciousness comes through harder impact, meaning the stronger your body is, the sharper your mind is. This includes areas such as cardiovascular training, kumite, randori, grappling, sparring, resistance and weight training, bone and skin muscle conditioning. Now, it's pretty obvious from my point of view, not only do you want to be in shape to be able to practically apply what it is that you're training and doing, so you can, defend your loved ones against that attack that we all are preparing for. But you want to make sure that you are also able to do the concepts and ideas and physical application so that you have a better and deeper understanding of what it is that you're learning. When it comes to ninjutsu, it requires a lot of the gymnastic and acrobatic types of movement, the backflips, the running up the walls, the being able to climb the trees, the hiding up in the rafters, etc., etc. And now that's all well and good when you look at that and you understand it for what it is, like trying to watch some guy doing parkour. But if you're going to actually try to understand it from the mindset of the warriors that actually had to do it, live and die by these same types of movement and ideas hundreds of years ago, you need to be able to do it as well. You want to put yourselves in the same shoes that they were. If you're 400 pounds and you're having trouble, climbing up a tree, yet you're professing that you're a master of ninjutsu, there's a problem with that. If you are going to teach it, you got to be able to do it. At least in my heart. The last thing you want to be is an armchair general when it comes to concepts and ideas. If you're sitting there and you're 80 pounds wet, and you understand what a hip throw is, Gosh, Ippon, and when they're helping you, as a good uke, you're pulling it off, and you're barely getting the throw, and you're supposed to be teaching people, and then when it comes to the actual randori and the actual sparring and having to actually apply it on someone who's resisting you and not trying to be thrown and is instead trying to whoop your ass and put your head in the ground, and all of a sudden it don't work no more because you're just not able to pull it off, there is an issue with that. You've got to be able to do it. If you're going to teach it, you got to be able to do it. Simple as that.
Seishin, Teki, Kyoyo, that'd be spiritual refinement. A good example of that would be actually doing the kata. The soldiers that lived and died by these methods hundreds of years ago did these same things. So us doing it as well is a spiritual connection towards the old ways, the past.
Now, you can be any religion and practice these arts. We do not operate a cult or religion by trying to dictate what it is you should believe in. That being said, there are heavier spiritualistic and religious ideas in our arts should you so choose to try to believe in them. We operate entirely instead with the idea of increasing what is called the Bushi Ki, or warrior spirit. At the most shallow levels, you can consider increasing your resolve towards any goal that you may have today to be a form of spiritualism.
We have Nihon Musha Kyu, which would be the studying, being educated, in a direction that's beyond the 7 that we have. This applies to other martial arts, feudal Japan, etc., etc. We talk about the Meiji era and so on and so forth. So where we can figure out how to apply that towards what we do.
Nihon Musha Kyu is actually really, really important. To me, it's really cool to experience learning about other martial arts than the one that you're doing. It really puts things in perspective at how efficient the Japanese people were when it came to the idea of warfare. Hundreds of years ago, and it was feudal. Everything they did was designed and based around the whole idea of war. From where they put their houses, to how they designed their houses, to how they lived their life. Doing so required such a high level of discipline so that where every single thing that they did could be considered an art form, from making tea to arranging flowers to tying a knot to chopping someone in half. Every single thing that they did could be considered an art form. So trying to see our martial art, and martial arts in general, is the same way. It's really cool.